Who would have thought a county fair would mean so much to this quiet settlement? October 8, 1936, a time when cattle were still driven by herd and real horsepower had room to roam. At Del Mar, the San Diego County Fair took its first tentative steps at a place built for $25,000 by the Work Projects Administration. On that October day 50 years ago, there was only one building completed at the fairgrounds. Everything else was under tents, and they needed cover because during that first county fair, it rained nearly every day, all day long. Perhaps that's when the rust started on this 60-year-old Fordson. A soggy October caused the date of the second fair to be changed to August, but June became the tradition. The fair is known many names: San Diego County Fair, Southern California Exposition, Del Mar Expo, and now the Del Mar Fair. But they insist on keeping that stuffy-sounding exposition. A split second in time, frozen 50 years, tells a lot about people. Men and women dressed up for their day at the fair, coat and tie for Dad, Mom's best hat for all to see. And speaking of hats, lids were a standard for most men, too. The Midway or Fun Zone was just a few rides for the kiddies. Grown-ups were offered, for those times, a risque girly show, French models the billed attraction. You needed 50 cents to get in. The cost this year is 10 times that amount. No question the fair is 10 times bigger, but is it 10 times better? The fair has had its share of turmoil, a rock group called Berlin in '83, a labor protest in '84. There have been occasional reports of management throwing money around unwisely, and until they were too expensive to import, you had to watch for flying cow chips. The fair was a gamble when it began, but most bets were covered the next year when harness and horse racing began. Harry L. Crosby, nicknamed Bing, was the force behind it. One of the board of directors at Del Mar Turf Club was Oliver Hardy. When the cornerstone was laid, California Governor Frank Merriam was pleased with the Spanish design at the fair. Happy it was not, in his words,
some dizzy, futuristic stuff.
Rewinding the fair story is incomplete without mentioning a man who was its living symbol.
Tom Hernandez. Tom, nice to have you here. Tom, here you go.
For 17 years, Tom Hernandez activated his smile every June to be Don Diego. Easy to smile when surrounded by beauty queens such as Raquel Welch.
There's nothing like returning to the first love, which is Don Diego. And it's a role that keeps you young because the challenge is there. I've got an 18-year-old, 19-year-old queen. So the challenge is always to look the gallant caballero with her.
But 2 years ago, the day before the fair opened, the smile was a memory. Tom Hernandez had passed away. The Del Mar Fair, second largest in the state, the only one that makes a profit. A newborn 50 years ago, and despite some rough, awkward times, loving care has won out. You've come a long way, Niño.